G'day guys, welcome to Beers and Breakevens out of NRL SuperCoach Finals Week 3. I'm your host Tim Williams here. With me today, as always, my co-host, my 5'8", my Robin, Cat Haddad. How are you?
Hello. It's such a pleasure to join the winner of Beers and Breakevens. And I think a lot of people are going to wonder where your regular 5'8" is. Do you want to fill them in?
Well, I don't know, but I came in today and there's just a good vibe in here. There's a good energy. There's no arrogance. There's no negativity. It's just like, I don't know if it's just you and me, Kat, but I'm enjoying it already, like more than normal. Why?
Yeah, I think like the ego just doesn't enter the building when we arrive. There's no ego in here. It's just two humble people talking about SuperCoach, talking about footy, just back to its core, back to what it's all about.
Yeah, the pure sort of stuff. Does it feel like there's more space in the studio without Guru's ego here? Where is he?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
I thought because he didn't score very well, he called in sick today.
I just assumed he'd thrown in the towel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think, look, it'll be the first time it's just been you and me, but I feel confident. I think we can get through it.
Yeah, I'm vibing it. I think we'll be okay. The Roo, off due to few things going on today, God knows what, but let's just say that he's thrown in the towel after a tough season all around for the big fella. Kat, you were up and about last week. You had a killer score. We haven't touched on this pre-show. How'd you go this week?
Not as well as I did last week. I think I did set the bar particularly high for myself. I scored 837, which leaves me with a rank. No, 13,000 overall. I did drop quite a lot, but you know what, Timmy? I feel good about this week.
Yeah, why is that? Talk to me.
I think these games will be really high scoring. I almost feel like you can't create a bad team this week. Like I think we're looking at, I mean, we went to make our teams before, and for me it's just so many no-brainer decisions. There's a lot on the line this week. Like there is every week, but these four teams, it's going to be points galore, I think.
I hope you're right. For the Stallions, we scored 927 points.
That's very good.
Yeah, so I was very happy with that one. So I'm into 5,200th overall, so going along all right. Big pod play of Jacob Preston. I had him in my team all week.
Did you take him out?
I did. It's not as bad as it sounds. He went nuts. I was all in on him with that matchup with Blaze Talangi last week.
Yeah.
When Ethan Strange got ruled out and the Raiders named Simi Sasangi, I was like, that was the edge Nico Hines was going at, and I just had a sick feeling in my gut. So I put Nico in. Nico tunned as well, so it wasn't diabolical. I stuck with Hudson Young in my back row, but I had the two halfbacks in the flex position as well. So, look, cost me a few, but not the end of the world. So hopefully a few people did jump on Jacob Preston, and I've just found Guru's Grizzlies team.
Oh, you did?
871 points. He's ranked in 16K overall, so you've still got him, Kat. Two more weeks. Can you hold out for us?
100%. That's my goal. I have one goal, and that's the goal.
You want to know what the idiot did?
What did he do?
He left Ethan Strange in his team.
Oh, no, he mentioned it, I think, on Roo Crew that he'd done that.
Yeah.
Man, I know he likes Ethan Strange, but geez.
No wonder he hasn't come in this week. Anyway, so I've got a good gap to him, and God, hope I don't lose to him from here, but hopefully back-to-back for that one. And Kat, you're looking good as well. Guys, if you would like to speed your internet up, I should say, and get on board with Lawntel, shout out to Andrew, the big dog, the big wig over at Lawntel. He sent me messages in recent weeks. He's a Raiders diehard supporter, and he's been genuinely checking in on my welfare. So I'm very grateful that he's looking out for me amid a couple of poor weeks. But Kat, I think we need to be looking out for Andrew, because I love my mighty Raiders, but that bloke absolutely bleeds green every bit as much as I do. So Andrew, we are thinking of you as well. And guys, if you want to get on board with Lawntel, the quickest internet on the planet, you can do so via the link in the show description. And of course, Blue Wealth Property as well, long-time supporters of Beers and Breakevens. Kat, you had an interesting experience on Sunday afternoon with Tony himself as a guest at the Doggies vs Panthers game. Speaking of diehards, the biggest Bulldog support on the planet, talk to us.
Yeah, well, there's no greater experience as a neutral than getting a game experience with somebody who's fanatic.
Yeah.
And not only did I attend in the same space as Tony Hayek and his friends, I was seated next to Tony.
Oh, wow.
And when I arrived and I saw I was going to be next to him, he actually said to me, he's like, you just wait. He's like, you're going to regret being seated next to me. And I think I didn't regret it. It was entertaining, but I actually just felt bad.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, you know, as I mentioned, I'm there as a neutral. I wasn't super invested in like who won. I think it's obvious that I would have preferred the Bulldogs had won in that particular matchup, but I was kind of happy with whatever happened. I just wanted a good game of footy. And so I was really disappointed for Tony and just like seeing his demeanor change throughout the game. And he was very, very frustrated. And I don't blame him. Like some of those calls were really frustrating to watch. But it was a really great experience sitting next to Tony. I'd love to be next to Tony when they win a game. I think it would be next level.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that he was extremely loud for the first 15 to 20 odd minutes. There was a little Galvin set up. The Galvin opening try, he put Preston through, Preston back to Galvin. He'd been up and about for about 20 minutes. Yeah. At what minute was just the wind entirely out of the sails and he just went quiet?
I think it was that Brian Tor intercept that turned into a try.
Okay.
And he was just donezo.
So he hung him for a while.
He did. He hung in for a while because there were periods of hope there, I think, where the Dogs were doing something. And like his sons were there as well, and like everybody was equally frustrated. But I think we were also right on the barricade and he was like kind of holding the rails and really frustrated. But I mean, at the end of the day, it was an amazing like journey that the team went on this season, and I think they had lots to be proud of. And I think even Tony in that state was able to recognise that. So
at the end of the day, nobody was beating the Panthers. So Tony, we're thinking of you, mate. Guys, if you want to book a discovery call with Blue Whale's property, look at getting into the housing market first time, get informed about it, a bit more education. Email beers@bluewealth.com.au. The link to that also in the show description. Now, team list, Kat, let's get stuck into it, and you're going to throw them at me this week, and we're going to go from there.
Yep, let's kick off with Storm taking on the Sharks. This one is Friday, 7:50 p.m. at Amy Park. Actually, Guru is going to be at that game, so definitely keep up with your socials if you want a bit of BTS. But there are some huge inclusions for the Storm this week. We see the return of Jerome Hughes at halfback after that fractured forearm. So I think not a lot of people knew when he was going to return, so this is good for them. We've also got Pappenhausen back at fullback. He returns from concussion. And Sean Bloor is on the bench after returning from his fractured larynx. With Pappy's return, we see Nick Meaney move to the centres and Grant Anderson dropping out of the side. Jonah Pezzett also makes way for Hughes. There's been a lot of talk about Pezzett recently. So before we jump into the Sharks, is there anything you want to add on the Storm?
Yeah, I think just the only one would be, and look, I'm not ballsy enough to do it, but anyone wanting to go against Nathan Cleary this week, there's that, and Nicho Hines for that matter, even if we wanted to consider like the flex position as well. But Jerome Hughes, we know he's one of the best in the game. You'd be taking a flyer, but I think this is a game where I think it'll be tight. I think the Storm will get the job done. They've had a week off. They're fresh. They've got everyone back on deck. They're near enough full strength, which is very daunting for the Sharkies. But, yeah, there is a world where the Storm put a bit of a score on the Sharkies here. I'm not convinced it'll happen, but it could do. And if they do, Jerome will be pulling all the strings there. Not for me, but Jerome Hughes just a sneaky one at halfback there. What about the Sharkies?
Only one change for the Sharks. We see Oregon Corfusi being recalled, and he replaces Tom Hazelton. So Dan Atkinson is also named again as 18th man.
Yeah, boring. On to the next game.
Then we have the Brisbane Broncos taking on the Penrith Panthers. This one is at Suncorp at 4:05 on Sunday, and I'm going to be at this game. I'm really.
You've seen some footy lately.
I have. Do you know what? We can get into it later, but there's a lot to be said for your team not being in finals and just being able to enjoy the footy for what it is.
You know what? When the Raiders got knocked out last weekend, and look, we have SuperCoach finals, but there's not as much pressure as obviously the regular SuperCoach season, especially that final month or so where big swings are happening. It's just like there was so much pressure on the end of the SuperCoach season, so much pressure around the Raiders. The absolutely minuscule, tiny silver lining when the Raiders got knocked out, I'm like, I can just enjoy finals footy without worrying about the Raiders, the ramifications of other results, all sorts of things. And you're right.
I know. And like, I feel like a wimp almost for saying it, because it's like, I haven't given up on South Sydney, but my God, it is just really nice to tune into footy and just enjoy it and not be concerned or over emotional about the results. So speaking of which, let's dive into the Broncos v the Panthers. So we have the The one and only Adam Reynolds returning after missing 5 games with a hamstring injury. Ezra Mam also returns from a similar injury. He's named on the bench. We've got Billy Walters. As we know, he's ruled out with an ACL injury, which is such a shame. And Ben Hunt moving into 5'8". We've got Tyson Smoothie moving to lock, replacing the suspended Pat Carrigan, which is a big loss for the Broncos. And we've also got Selwyn Cobbo listed on the reserves after returning via Queensland Cup last week.
Yeah.
Anything to add there on the Broncos?
Yeah, huge on Ezra Mam off the bench. Reynolds, Hunt going with the experienced duo there. The main one, like I wouldn't be looking to start Hunt or Reynolds, I think, in my side against the Panthers, but the only one of note would be Adam Reynolds and goal kicking. As you said, coming back from a hamstring injury, so I don't think he'll goal kick. I'd imagine Reece Walsh will. Walsh is kicking at 78% this season. He's hitting them okay. I feel like he's hit the post a hell of a lot of times as well. So, look, I'd imagine Walsh does, but if Walsh were to give up the goal kicking to Adam Reynolds, it'd open up a few opportunities for a few left field fullback options as well this week and maybe go against Walsh despite the former. But yeah, that's the main stuff there.
Awesome. Let's dive into the Panthers. So miraculously, after the game that they had against the Bulldogs, there are no major injury concerns or changes to the team. We do know that Liam Martin and Casey McLean both had some injuries off the back of that game, but they've both been cleared to play, so no changes there. And then Mitch Kenny is also expected to benefit from his 58-minute return last week. Yeah,
well, I mean, end of that game, there was sort of Casey McLean left the field early, Liam Martin left it early, Luke Garner, I think, had a little stinger or something there as well. So good to see all them named. Terrible if you are a Broncos supporter, but naturally going to be pretty bloody hard to beat in this one. The Panthers. Alrighty, Kat, let's get on to our teams and our skippers for week 3 of NRL SuperCoach finals. We're going to start at the top. Once again, as it has been essentially every week of SuperCoach finals, Blake Brayley or Harry Grant. I don't think there's a world where you can go for anyone else in there at the moment, and this actually won't be changing. I've gone Harry Grant. Big game player, big game experience. He has the attacking upside, fresh off a bye. Blake Brayley, obviously the same game there. He's been exceptional, averaging 67.5 through the 2 finals matches so far, but I just think I've got the Storm favoured to win this game. Grant's going to be in everything. It's Grant for me. Which way are you leaning?
Yeah, exactly the same. I think this is one where you don't outthink the room. Harry Grant's had an incredible season from a scoring perspective. And like you mentioned, they're the favourites at Amy Park. I think he's going to score very well, and they're not points I want to miss out on.
Now, I mean, it's a bit annoying, but in fact, it's very annoying. But they've only got the top 10 most owned players each week for SuperCoach finals. And when it's a 1 week play and you're trying to differentiate your team from others, it makes it very hard to do. Now, adding to make this even harder is that, you can't break it down into like top 10% ranked overall and top 1% ranked overall. So it is a little bit more skewed and misleading than probably during the regular season when we can break it up into that ownership area. But as it stands, and it's still fairly relevant, it's relevant, it's just not exact. Blake Brayley's at 60% ownership. Harry Grant nowhere to be seen in the top 10. Nicho Hynes is 10th at 28%. So as it stands, he's sub 28%. I'd expect he'd be higher than that amongst sort of the top ranked teams overall. But yeah, one worth noting there around Harry Grant. So he'll be in my team and I will not be swaying from that one. In the front row, forward position, again, it's a bit of I shouldn't say hooker's boring because you can go Brayley or Harry Grant either way. Front row forward, Payne Haas, fresh off a bye. He did limp off the field against the Raiders. There was a bit of concern there. He did come back on, though, and finish that game. I mean, Isaiah Papali'i, 78-point average across the 2 games for the Panthers so far, but he's coming off the bench. Fanua Blake's been fantastic, but still only averaging 58 points. Lindsay Smith, he's a bit of a flyer. Again, it's just Payne Haas and no one else, right?
I know. I've just stuck to Payne. It's only when the Broncos had a bye that I didn't have him in my side. I feel like it's similar to Harry Grant in the sense of like his potential is so great that I'm scared to not have him. And I think he'll play his best footy this weekend.
If everything goes wrong for him, barring injury, he scores 50 to 60, which is like...
And that's a bad game.
Yeah, that's a bad game. And if he goes out and he offloads, especially if they're behind Penrith and they're chasing points, he'll have 8 offloads late in the game. So if you're going against Payne Haas, as bad as it sounds, you're hoping that he gets injured.
Yeah, if you're
Simple as
going
that.
against him, I don't know where those points are going to come from elsewhere. I think also, I mean, it was Adam Reynolds himself who told us when we went to the finals and we interviewed him to the promo day. He said that it's Payne Haas and Reece Walsh, like they dictate that game for the Broncos. So if it's not Walshy, it's Haas. Like I feel like they're the two that you kind of just need to look
That's mad
into
that he
the team.
actually said that.
I
Like,
know.
we all know it, but
It's cool
it's a
to
weird
come from
thing,
him.
especially from the halfback, to be like, look, it's Walsh and Haas sort of moving things around for us. Like said, they dictate. Like, it's good on him.
But Reynolds pointed out how with Payne Haas, it's like he's unpredictable to them as well.
Yeah.
In the best way possible. They don't know what he's going to do, but that's what's made him the best in his position. That's why I think, you'd kind of be silly not to jump on that opportunity this week.
Now, in the 2RF position, this is a spot that you can go against the grain a little bit. There's heaps of options, and we saw it last weekend with Jacob Preston absolutely flying 131 points in that one. Look, week one, and a player that's going to be very highly owned this week is Elias Katoa. Currently in 31% of teams. Again, I would assume that's probably high amongst top-ranked teams, but I do feel this, and once again, the CT dub positions that you can go against the grain a little. Now, you've got Teague Wilton there as an option. Billy Burns probably scored the try last week. Liam Martin, lesser of an option. Katoa, 110 in week one. Jordan Ricky on the edge for the Broncos. Again, Kat, Eli Katoa is the obvious one. Is he too obvious and you just do it again, or do you look for a bit of an edge elsewhere?
Do you know what's funny is I feel like this is a position where I'm willing to take a bit of a gamble.
Yeah.
I am a little tempted by Jordan Ricky in this one just to play a different card. I think I had Eli Katoa round one. I had Isaiah Yeo this most recent game week. He didn't score that well. He was all right. But I'm kind of thinking this might be a little differential for me.
That's brought a tear to my eye, Kat, because you've come on leaps and bounds, and
you hate it.
No, I love it. Like,
okay, great. It's a happy tear.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I'd upset you.
So like, no, it's a happy tear because the idiot who normally sits on my right, and he listened to me for 3 years, then this year he got cocky and started making his own decisions, and it backfired dramatically. But you've come on so far. I like Ricky as well, running at Blaze Talangi.
I love it. He's about double the size of Blaze, so
at least double the size of Blaze Talangi. And I just love the matchup where, look, historically he hasn't been the best Supercoach player. He's been all right, Jordan. He's always in that sort of 50 to sort of 60 max averaging, but running at Talangi, that's where the Broncos are going to go at all game, I think. It's the clear weak link in the Panthers. To his credit as well, granted it was an enormous game, but in that first week of finals against the Raiders, 46 tackles and he had 17 runs.
Yeah, no, he was a workhorse in that game.
Yeah.
He was all over. He was in so many, well, you just mentioned the stats, but he was involved in so many of those crucial tackles. I thought his defense was really, really good that day. So if he plays like that against Penrith, he'll get a lot of action.
So, I just love the Talangi matchup once again. So I think he needs to lift for them if they're going to upset the Panthers. So I've got Ricky in my team.
How funny that we both have Jordan Ricky.
Yeah.
And we didn't talk about this before, by the way.
I have never mentioned Jordan Ricky as a potential Supercoach buy, but Supercoach finals as a 1 week play is a different beast. So
you know what? Wait till we see his percentage of ownership's going to go up after this.
I'm sure it will. All right, halfback. I mean,
it's a no-brainer, isn't it?
You just have Cleary, right?
Yeah. He's already got the C on for me. I mean, we'll get into it more later, but
let's hypothetical for people considering a halfback in the flex position, which will be relatively popular as well. Nicho Hynes turned up last weekend, looked unreal. Week 1 of finals, I think he scored about 55 points, had no major attacking stats in there. He's been good. Goes down against the Melbourne Storm. Is Hynes someone you consider in your flex? Could you go the Jerome Hughes play, or are you looking elsewhere for the flex?
I've got Nicho Hynes in my flex.
There you go.
So I think you pointed it out before that it's definitely Storm's game to lose. They're at home. It's usually in their favour. Nobody likes playing at Amy Park. But the Sharks have got a little something at the moment, right? Like they are holding on for dear life, and I think Hynes is at the helm. So let's see what he
They've
pulls.
got a bit of worlds against us, nothing to lose mentality, right?
Yeah. They've got the underdog spirit. I'm into it.
Yeah, look, no knock on Nicho Hynes as a VC. I just think, and I've already seen actually since earlier today, he's crept into that top 10% overall at 28%. That, yeah, so.
So, well, where do you stand on him? So I've got Nicho Hynes in my flex position.
I don't, because the way I'm attacking this round in 5K overall, I think I literally said last week, I was about 10K. I said a little bit conservative last week, hoping to go to about 5K. Did that, and then I wanted to be a little bit different this week.
Okay.
So not to the degree of no Cleary or Haas, but people going into Nicho Hynes, I think I'm going to get a little bit weird around the flex position and a few other little spots in my team. So Jordan Ricky was one of them, but yeah, so no knock on Nicho Hynes, but he's not in my team as it stands.
Fair enough.
5'8" position, it's been a bludger of a position, the 5'8", for a while. Cam Munster, he is the most popular player at the moment, by a pretty decent margin.
Yeah.
94 in his first game of the finals. Look, Braden Trindle's there. You could go Blaze Talangi, who's looked dangerous without really getting in on the action for the Panthers. You could go a sneaky little Ben Hunt play. Again, Munster's obvious, but the Sharks defend well. I don't hate going against him. I just don't know who.
I mean, I don't hate the idea of Trindle either. I think if the Sharks play well, he plays well, and there'll be points in that. I do have Cameron Munster at the moment, but I think once again it's just like a don't outthink the room kind of vibe. But it doesn't mean that it won't change. I am also tempted by Ben Hunt, but in order to have Payne Haas and Reece Walsh, which shock. I'm probably going to have Reece at fullback. I kind of need to put someone else into that 5'8" position that's not from the Bronx. So.
I'm a bit like you. And again, going against the grain here, but I think Penrith win the game. But there's a lot of Brisbane individuals who I'm keen on. And I'm same as you. I've had to cut one out that I'm keen on because of the Walsh Haas situation as well. So, yeah, look, I'd like to go against him. I think you're overthinking it if you don't go with Cameron Munster in this one. So Munster for me, he'll run the ball, he'll bust tackles, he'll offload, he'll do all those sorts of things.
100%.
CT Dub gets a little bit interesting here. Look, tons of options. Paul Alamotti last week, 191 points.
Amazing.
Ridiculous.
And to think there was debate around whether or not he should start. I love when players just let the actual playing speak for itself, and he's such a good example of that. He was unreal, and I think Penrith just know exactly what to do with Alamotti on the wing, and it's also I think we talked about it last week, but because Brian To'o is on the opposing edge, we often discredit the value of the other winger because To'o is like the best winger in the game. But Alamotti was just as good over the weekend, and I think credit to him because if people want to bring him in this week, why not? I mean, I back it. In saying that, I've had Brian To'o since day one, and he is going to stay in my team for as long as Penrith are in this comp.
Yeah, okay. So Alamotti playing on the right wing comes up against Brisbane's left. He gets the better matchup.
Yeah.
That being said, Penrith are more dominant down their left edge attacking. They were ruthless there last week, but also Alamotti scored a hat-trick on the right. So, again, it's it doesn't really matter with Penrith, does it? They're ridiculous both sides of the field. So, but I do like the matchup for Alamotti against that edge of the Broncos. But, again, not a lot in it. Brian To'o certainly more proven and the safer option of the two. I like the Sharkies left edge matchup against the Storm's right edge, which is pretty weak. This brings into contention Ronaldo Mulitalo, Kale Iro. Iro I had last week. He was outstanding. He's getting through a stupid amount of work, as he always does. Got across the stripe last week, albeit in controversial circumstances. We go down the list. There's Isaac Tungo, Casey McLean, Tony Staggs, Gamat Shibasaki, Josiah Karapani.
Yeah.
Look, you go any which way. At the moment, have Kale Iro again. I want Katoni Staggs. He's been in awesome form, getting through a lot more work than usual. And I think, again, as we said before, I think they're going to send everything at Blaze Talangi. And on the same edge as him, I reckon they're going to try and get Staggs at Blaze Talangi. They did it to Jamal Fogarty, granted on the other edge a couple of weeks ago to effect, and he went through and scored the first try. But I think Staggs getting a couple of one-on-ones potentially with Talangi is devastating. I've got too many Broncos, so I can't have him at the moment. There's a world where I go Staggs in and Ricky out, or I go Staggs in my flex, but I've gone a different direction for the time being.
Okay. It's
fullback.
A tough one.
Yeah, it is a tough one. Fullback, we've got Dylan Edwards, he's the most popular at the moment. Reece Walsh is the obvious one. Ryan Pappenhausen is a little bit left field. They're the big three. I don't think you could go Will Kennedy, Nick Meaney or elsewhere. So Edwards, Walsh, Paps. You got Walsh in there by the sounds of it?
I do have Reece Walsh in there. And I think once again, round one of SuperCoach finals, I had Reece Walsh in my team. He scored really well. I just think if the Broncos do win this game, they'll win it off the back of Reece Walsh having an outstanding performance. There's really no world where that doesn't happen in my eyes. I don't think Broncos can win this game without Reece Walsh having an awesome game himself. Yeah. So with that said, it's just points I don't want to miss out on. But it doesn't mean that won't change. I'm not completely sold on Dylan Edwards in this one over Reece Walsh. I just think Reece at Suncorp, something's going to happen.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
And they get a day fixture as well, which that only helps.
And I'm going to be there, remember?
I know.
I'm trying to manifest a really, really great performance from Reece Walsh because I want to see it with my own eyes.
It'd be exciting.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I saw it 2 weeks ago in very unfortunate circumstances,
Yes.
but it was exciting.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, look, I've got Walsh as well. I'm with you, Kat. I just think he's too hard to go past in the form that he's in. Everything they do is going to be around Reece Walsh.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
The Edwards, I don't mind the Edwards player over Walsh. I think he's probably more reliable if Penrith are just to really, knuckle down in defence and they don't let in too many points. But I'm with you. I think it's a Reece Walsh. It'll be the Reece Walsh show once again. Flex. What have you got there?
Well, I mentioned that I have Nico Hines. This is probably one of the positions I'm not completely set on. Similar to my 2RF, I think you mentioned that you're not completely sold on Ricky either. I think that's only because it is a little bit of a left of centre choice.
Yeah.
The flex for me is that's the one that's hardest for me to do. So I had Jacob Kiraz last week in my flex, which didn't work out as well as I wanted it to. So that's probably the one position that I'm going to overthink like hell, to be honest.
I've currently got, this is my little flyer, Ryan Pappenhausen.
I like it.
Yeah, I mean, look, he had the head knock late in round 27, so he missed the first week of finals clash, but he'll be fresh and ready to rock. I think because people are going to flock towards Walsh and Edwards, I don't think many will have him. Look, I'm not even going to sit here and say I confidently think he's going to go out there and outscore Walsh or Edwards, but as I said, I think there's a world where maybe Melbourne come out and they do just, fresh off a bye, a superstar team, maybe they do win 40-10 against the Sharks and Pappy's in everything.
I can see it.
And it's SuperCoach finals. We've got 2 more weeks to go. I've already got Cleary in my team. I've already got Payne Hash in my team, Cam Munster. You need to make some moves somewhere. And if I finish 1,000th or I finish 20,000th in SuperCoach finals, I don't care. Like it's in SuperCoach Classic and over a full season, trying to hold rank, trying to finish top 1,000, that's acceptable and it's all good and you don't want to drop much. SuperCoach finals, I don't care. Let's have a bit of a swing. So I'm thinking Pappy.
I like it. Look, you earned your bragging rights already.
Thank you.
You're allowed to have fun now to me, I promise you. I really do like it. I think, as you mentioned, he's going to come back fresh. He's been in the stands watching all of these finals games. I think he would be itching to return. And if he can score a double or triple, 4 tries anywhere, it's at Amy Park. And I think he'll have fresh legs. So why not?
Triple would be
why
nice.
Not? A triple would be. I mean, we were talking about it before. I actually want you to just tell me what results you want to see this weekend. Like, forget what the stats are saying. Who would you like to see win both games?
Sharks and Panthers.
Okay.
I'm over the Storm.
Yeah.
I lived in the Shire for about 7 years, so I've got a soft spot for the place. I like the Sharkies. I like their team. I'm just so anti-Queensland, just because of Origin. Well, you know what? Like, in saying that, I've got nothing against 3 of the teams there. They're still the Queensland thing, but the Broncos, I like teams I never want to see in a grand final. Broncos, Roosters. I've got nothing against the Storm. I'm just sick of them.
Yeah.
The Panthers I'm sick of, but I admire so much, and I'll probably go for any team over the Panthers this week, but Brisbane, nut. So I would love a Sharks-Panthers grand final, but even if we delve even deeper to the more footy nerd, I'm like, well, I think the Panthers probably smoked the Sharks in a grand final, whereas I think the Storm and Panthers, that's a belter.
Yeah.
What do you want?
It's a tough one, isn't it? I think if you asked me 10 weeks ago, I would have rolled my eyes at the thought of Penrith being in another grand final. And that's just because I think we all have grown. No, I'm not speaking for everybody. I'm just speaking for myself and I guess the crowd.
The entire rugby league community, speaking on behalf
of the entire rugby league community. No, speaking on behalf of my friends and the conversations that I have, I think that we all grew a little tired of seeing the Penrith dynasty living on the way that it was. And there was a sense of, I want to call it entertainment that has come from the last half of the season and watching them almost rebuild and go from the bottom of the table to where they are now has been so impressive that I am actually backing the 5 in a row in a way that I wouldn't have a few months ago. I thought I was sick of it, but this is if they can do that, it's the greatest win they've had so far because it's the biggest adversity we've seen from them. The ability to overcome like whatever doubt they were having halfway through the season to be where they are right now and to play as confidently as they are now. This is where you're seeing all of that experience come to fruition and it's so impressive. So for me, I don't really care who it's against. I just think for the sake of the narrative, I'd love to see Penrith make it to another final and just see what they can do in that scenario. But end of the day, I'm not that emotional about any of these teams. I'm just happy. I just want to see some good matchups, I guess, like quality matchups.
End of the day, I wanted a Raiders or a Doggies or a Warriors, and they're all gone. So whatever.
Exactly. I mean, it was. I think a lot of people were backing Raiders, and then they were like the people's team.
Yeah.
And then when they bowed out, it was like, okay, well then just give us some good games, and I'll roll with it. Yeah,
it was a nice game for 2 weeks. Anyway, we move on, and captains to wrap it up, as you said before, Cleary very hard to go past. You could go anywhere for your VC, or if you're on to VC, maybe Nathan Cleary is a little bit of a left field move. Payne Haas, another good one. What are you thinking?
I am thinking Cleary. So I think I want to VC someone Friday.
Yep.
And Captain Cleary and just kind of see what happens.
Yeah.
I've currently got my VC on Harry Grant, but that isn't because I've decided to do that. It's just kind of like defaulted to that out of all of my players here. But yeah, it will probably either be on Harry Grant or I don't know. I actually could throw a bit of a spanner and do like a Brian To'o or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Go a little bit left field.
Yeah, why not?
Literally. Yeah. It's tough. Again, not having the percentages. I'm like, I love a Payne Haas player, but I assume he'll be pretty high.
Yeah.
I gather a lot will put it on Reece Walsh. Look, I think I'll go the C on Nathan Cleary. I think I might even just go a little wild card and VC Pappy.
Why not?
Yeah.
He's there anyway.
I know. And look, I mean, the obvious choices are a VC of Walsh or Haas into a C Cleary. Maybe a little VC Pappy into a C Cleary.
Yeah.
Anyway, that'll do us, Kat, for Beers and Breakevens for NRL SuperCoach Finals Week 3. It was very pleasant, so thank you.
Just pleasant.
Yeah. We might not invite Rue back to his own studio next year or next week, so just stick with us. It was good. It was a much better vibe. Everyone's happier. No one leaves feeling down and abused, so it was good.
God. Do you know what? If it was just you and me, it wouldn't be called Beers and Breakevens. It'd be called like Coffee and Breakevens or something. I don't know. I feel like we've never shared a beer.
Much more wholesome.
Yeah.
Anyway, that'll do us, guys. Thanks for tuning in and good luck this weekend.